Welcome to Circuit Buddy. Today we'll be discussing about genetic code. Genetic code is a very important topic of class 12 biology, and is also important for honors courses. And I always wanted to make this video because it's very interesting when students try to read this genetic code chart. They often get frustrated. They cannot remember the entire chart. So I have made very easy tricks for you. Please be with me till the end of the video, and I believe that you will be able to remember all the codons and the associated amino acids very easily. And let's see what happens. So first of all, we have to know what genetic code is. Genetic code is the relation between the nucleotide sequence in the DNA or its transcript and the amino acid sequences in the polypeptide, and that's the relation actually, okay, and nothing more than that. Now the genetic code actually have some codons, and the codons are base triplets. Base triplet means they have three bases, okay. So you see that they have three bases. In each of the cases there are three bases, and it is called a triplet or a codon. On means unit. Whenever there is an on, you always remember that it will mean a unit. For example, neuron, on means unit, that is, it is actually the unit of the nervous system. Nephron, okay, so on means unit, and nephron means kidney, so it is the unit of the kidney, okay. So just for your kind information, I have written UCA, and the G room is not actually here because of shortage of space, and I will be writing this just after a few minutes. Now you see that I have arranged UCAG in this fashion, and in the same fashion there is UCAG, and I have given UCAG in for each of the rooms, okay. Now this is going to be the first letter of the triplet, and this is going to be the second letter, and this is going to be the third letter. Now what you do is just write them without any punctuation, okay. So U and U, then UC, then UA and UG, okay. So after that UCU, UCC, UCA and UCG. So you can see this very easily, and always remember that the first two letters of the codons are similar to each other. So just don't get frustrated about it. Just write them down, CC, and after that you just keep the UCAG in the right sequence, okay. Now you will get this kind of codon sequences here, and now I think that you are wondering how you can remember these things. I have made very easy tricks, so be passionate, and I think that it will help you very much, okay. So let us start. The amino acids that are present in the polypeptide have abbreviation system actually. So for example, if you see about leucine, then it can be abbreviated as a single letter capital L, okay. Or if you want to talk about tryptophan, okay. So it has an abbreviation, one letter abbreviation, that is what, W. You will be wondering why W, why? So I will be telling about it later in any other video, but here fan, just remember this trick, that a white fan, a fan's color is white, and it's very easy to understand. And after that, if you talk about other amino acids, you will have to remember the one letter abbreviation in order to understand them and to remember the entire chart, okay. So first of all, let us talk about the codons that we have just erased. First of all, this what will help you to remember some very important information or data, okay. So L means lysine, okay. Now you have these R actually in capital means arginine. Okay, they are amino acids. And then you have this serine, is for serine. Okay, is for serine. Now these amino acids, these three amino acids will come more than one times. Okay, so 2 times they will come 2 times. Okay, so you just remember that there are 2 lorries standing on the road. Okay, and that's enough for memorizing it. Now we will be going to memorize some other things, but before that let us see a sentence. Okay, so in this sentence you will see that high quality neckties are designed in this factory. Okay, so here you will see that this sentence will help us to memorize the chart completely. Now high quality, here is H. H actually means histidine. Okay, histidine. And this histidine, all the amino acids that I am going to name here will just follow a sequence. Okay, so histidine, and then you have the Q. Okay, so what is Q? Q is actually the glutamine. Okay, so in the same room they will be present, but 2 codons will be the first 2 codons will be of histidine and the second 2 codons will be of glutamine. Okay, now after that we have neckties. Okay, so if you talk about these neckties, N is, you write it here, it's okay, N means asparagine, so asparagine. Okay, and here K means lysine. So in the same room you will get asparagine and lysine, but first you will get asparagine. The first 2 codons will be for asparagine. Okay, and the last 2 codons will encode lysine, and after that there is designed. So D for, you know very well that it is aspartic acid. Okay, aspartic acid. And they are actually 1 liter abbreviations. If you don't know the 1 liter abbreviations, please do check it in your textbooks, or you can check it in the internet also very easily in just 1 click. Now if you want to learn how to memorize the 1 liter abbreviations, just comment below and I will make a short video about it, and I think that will be very helpful for you. Now you see that this is aspartic acid, and then you have this E, and this E actually is the glutamic acid. Okay, and now you have the last word here. This is factory, and it is a very important word in this sentence actually. Okay, because they all have their pairs. Okay, so histidine and glutamine, then you have this asparagine and lysine, then you have this aspartic acid, then you have that glutamic acid. Okay, so in the same room, but here they have no pair, they are just single, they are single, they are singles, they don't have partners. Okay, or girlfriends or GS. Now F means what? F actually means in capital phenylalanine. Okay, so they will not be with anyone else. Okay, they are single, and two codons will code for phenylalanine. The first two codons, we'll be talking about it just 1 minute later maybe. And then you have this C. C actually means the cysteine, okay, the cysteine residues C, and this Y is capital Y, and that means tyrosine. Okay, so these amino acids will not have any pair with them, and let's start to remember all the amino acids, and it's going to be very funny. So first of all, let us write U and U C, because there are the first two codons. Okay, now they actually code for phenylalanine. Okay, or simply F. So I will be using the one letter abbreviation because it is very easy to write. And how can you remember? Just remember these two U's. Okay, so let us write here U tube family. I know that the spelling, there is a spelling mistake and it is intentional, as it is phonetically similar, so I am using this, okay, for remembering. So U2 family, we are a family. It's not my channel, it's your channel, our channel. Okay, so we are members of the same family of this channel. Okay, so just see this U2 family. Okay, so whenever there is two U's, here is one U and here is another U. Okay, so two U's and it will be phenylalanine, because the first two codons will always code for the phenylalanine, and the second two codons, you have to remember that in the first room of the chart, the first two codons will be for phenylalanine. After that, you will go for the leucine, okay, or L, okay, that is leucine, and that is very easy. Now just go for the next one, the one below it. The one below leucine was Cu, U and C and A and G. Okay, so you can check this. You can see that in each of the case there are two letters. The first two letters are the same. Okay, so these codons actually code for the leucine. Okay, or simply L. So I am coding it, I am writing it as L. How can you remember it? Just remember this sentence, that see you later. Maybe the words are not complete, but as they are phonetically similar, I am using it, see you later. So whenever there is see you will always have this letter L. L means leucine. Okay, so it is very easy. After that we have the A. So AU and there is AU. So U, C, A and G. Okay, now this is a very important thing you have to know, that AUG is actually a start codon. Okay, this is called a start codon, and this start codon is carried by a specialized tRNA. Okay, and we call it tRNA mate. Okay, now this AU, you can see that there is always this two letters, the first two letters AU, and it codes for isoleucine, and this is the start codon. And if it is not working as a start codon, it will code for methionine. Okay, it will code for methionine. Now how can you remember this, that AU related series of these codons will be encoding isoleucine? So there is a very important easy trick, that is Arif, there is a tree, Arif, comma you and I. Okay, so this is the tree, and there are three persons, you and I and Arif. Okay, so Arif means A, and you, whenever there is AU, you will see that you will have this I, that is isoleucine. Okay, and one more thing, you have to remember this, that AUG is a start codon, so you don't have to take this into account. And there are 4 codons, but you have to take 3 codons for isoleucine. Okay, because Arif, you and I means isoleucine. Now we will go for the next room just below this, and this is G, GU, GU and GU, and again you have this GU, sorry, the GU. Okay, now there is U, C and A and G, and they actually code for the amino acid that is called valine. Okay, valine, or in general V. So how can you remember this? You see the first 2 letters are same as I have said earlier. So how can you remember this? You just say guava. This word will help you. So GU, whenever you get the GU, you will get the V. V means the valine. Okay, so these codons actually encode the valine amino acid. Okay, now we will go for the second column. In the first row, we have something like the C. Now in the second row, second column and the first row, we have C. Okay, then we have C in the second letter actually, and in the first letter we will have U as we have written. So U, then C, then we have U, UC, UC, UC and UCAG. Okay, now how can you remember what is there in this? So whenever there will be UC, the first 2 letters will be UC, and this will encode for serine. Okay, so how can you remember this serine? Serine actually is represented as capital AS. Now how can you remember this? Just remember this general thing, UC or the C. Okay, so UC are serine. So what is serine? Serine is actually a bird, and you can search it easily in the internet, and it's a bird, a beautiful bird. Okay, so you see a bird named serine. So whenever there's U and C, you will get the serine. Okay, so you see U, you see C, you see A, and you see G, and that's very, very important. Now we'll be talking about the room, or the room just below these codons. Okay, and it will start with this C. So C, C. Okay, C, 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 and again C, C, U, C, A, G. Now these codons have the first 2 letters as C, C. Okay, and they code for the proline, PRO, or you can say that in general P. Okay, so how can you remember this? Just remember this, that CCTV is for our protection. Okay, so whenever you go in a public place, if something happens, the CCTV captures the video or the footage. Okay, and that helps to catch the men who are guilty. Now proline actually is encoded by these codons. And how can you remember this? Whenever the first 2 letters or first 2 bases will be CC, you will have this pro means proline. Okay, now the next room just below this is going to be A. So A, and the second letter is always C. Then you have U, A, C, C, then A, C, A, and A, sorry, A, C, A, and A, C, G. Okay. Now, how can you remember this, and how can you remember what amino acid is there? Just remember this simple word. Okay, for it actually codes for threonine. Let me write it here first, and it is represented as a capital letter T. Okay, so a capital T. AC, AC, AC. You can see the first two letters are AC. And how can you remember this? You just remember this word, actor. So whenever there is AC, there is a T, that is threonine. Okay, so that's very, very easy. And after that, the next room just below this room will be G. The first letter will be G. The second letter is still the C, GC, GC, and GC, and U, C, A, G as usual. Now here, how can you remember what amino acids are there? So let us see. You just remember this simple trick that whenever there is a GC, you just remember this government college, okay, of arts. So it's an arts college, and it codes for alanine. Alanine is actually capital A in one letter or single letter representation. Okay, so arts, this A encodes for, or actually represents, the alanine A. Okay, and government college, GC, the first two letters are represented by these words. Okay, so it's going to be very easy for you to remember. Whenever there is GC, you just remember that it is government college GC, and then you just put it. Okay, alanine. Next we'll have the third column and the first row. Okay, so let us see. So the third column and the first row, we have the A. Okay, so as a second letter, so the first letter is always the U, and we have the UA. So UA, again UA, and again UA. Here we will have U, C, A, and G. Now here you see that there are 4 codons, and they encode something very beautiful actually. Always remember that these 2 codons, UAA and UAG, are stop or termination codons. Okay, so these codons should be remembered individually because they are very important. Actually there are 3 stop codons. We'll be studying about them later. Now UAU and UAC, actually these 2 codons encode for the tyrosine residue. Okay, so the tyrosine residue is TYR, and if you talk about the single letter representation, it's actually capital Y. Okay, so how can you remember this? You just remember this in this way, that you are tired, TIRED. Okay, so you are tired, tire means TYR, that is tyrosine. U and R, UA. Whenever there is UA, you just put the tyrosine residue. Okay, and you always remember that the tyrosine is always in the first 2 pairs, never in the second. If it were in the second pair, then I would have mentioned it in a trick or something like this. So you just remember that whenever I give a trick or something like that, it will be present in the first 2 codons of the row. Okay, now these are stop codons. After that we will have the C, So CA, and we have CA. Again we have CA and UCAG. Okay. Now here you can see that you probably remember the sentence that I had written, that high quality neckties are designed in this factory. The sentence there I have mentioned that high quality H and Q. So H for histidine and Q actually stands for the glutamine. Okay, now how can you remember that it is histidine? So just remember in this way, this is histidine and this is glutamine. How can you remember this? Just remember this simple trick. History of Calcutta. Okay, history of Calcutta. So whenever there is CA, it will code for the histidine. How will you know that it is histidine? I have always mentioned throughout my video that high quality, first comes H and then comes the Q. So the first two codons will be for histidine and the second two codons will be for glutamine. Okay, now how can you remember this? It is very easy, because you have written or you have seen that the word was high quality. So first histidine is there, and in the same room you will get the glutamine. So there is no there's nothing like that you cannot remember this. You just find the histidine and then you will find the glutamine. So if you want to find the histidine, how can you find it? You just go to this trick, history of Calcutta. So Calcutta means CA. So CA, the first two codons as usual will be CAU and CAC. Okay, so the second pair of codons will be CAA and CAG, and this is actually for the word quality, that is Q, that is glutamine. Okay, now we will be going for the next row, that is A. So AA will be the first two letters of the codon and UCAG. Okay, now the first letters are A. So how can you remember of what is there or what is not? Okay, so it is like this, that and. Okay, so and let me write it here, and. So whenever there is an A and there is another A just after it, so two A's, the first and the second letters are A's, then you will have this N, that means asparagine. So this is asparagine, ASN, or asparagine, capital N. Okay, I have mentioned in the sentence before in this video that neckties. So if you talk about the word neckties, you have N and you have K. K for lysine. Okay, so K actually stands for lysine, and you may wonder why this is so, because you have leucine and it has 1 letter abbreviation of L. So we cannot give L to this amino acid. We should give something that is closer to it. So KL. So K is closer to it. So we are giving it this name, that K. K is the 1 letter abbreviation of lysine. Okay. Okay. Because we cannot give M. M is for methionine. So K is the most appropriate. Now after that we will be going for the last room just below this. Okay, so it is G and the second letter is as usual A. Okay, now GA, and this is U, C, A and G, and you see that there is this sequence of the first and second letters, and GA, GA, GA and GA. Okay, so how can you remember this? For this, you just have to remember the name of an element present in the periodic table, and its name is gadolinium. Gadolinium, it has an atomic number of 64. Okay, so if you want to check, you can go and check. So this is, if you want to remember what amino acid is there, just remember this gadolinium. Okay, and it is GD. Now gadolinium, G and A is present as the first and second letters subsequently or respectively, and here you can see that there's D. D means aspartic acid, so ASP, and you can write it here as the single letter abbreviation. Okay, now I have told you that in the sentence that high quality neckties are designed in this factory. So designed, you have DE, so here you will get the E, that is the glutamic acid. Okay, so glutamic acid is the E. Okay, now after that we will be going for the last column and the first row. Now the first letter will be U, as I have written in the chart, and the second letter is going to be G because it is the room of G. Okay, so it is the column of G. So UG, then you have UG, UG, again you have UG. Okay, so here you will see UCAG. Now how can you remember which codons are coding the associated amino acid? Okay, now UG are the first two letters of this codon, okay, of these codons, and it codes for cysteine or simply C. Okay, so how can you remember this? For this you have to remember this codon only. Yes, so this is UGG, and this UGG codes for tryptophan, and in the whole chart, in the entire chart, you will find no other codon encoding this tryptophan, and it's very, very important. Tryptophan is only encoded by UGG and none of the 64 codons that are present. Okay, so UGG encodes tryptophan. Okay, now what is the trick behind this? So the trick is argent trip, okay, to Cyprus. Okay, so suppose you have an argent trip to Cyprus. Okay, now argent actually means U and G. So whenever you will find that there is U and G and there is a trip means tryptophan. Okay, so UGG, you have to remember that the last one is tryptophan because it cannot be a pair. Whenever you see something like this in the upper part of the room of any of the in any of the cases, okay, you will find that there is a pair. So you will see that tryptophan is singular or single, and this UGA is actually a stop codon. So you have to remember this stop codon. It is very, very important. You just saw that we had UAG, okay, and it was also a stop codon. You just replace G in the place of A and A in the place of G, and it will be another stop codon, UGA. Okay, now we will be talking about the Cyprus. This Cyprus is actually the cysteine, and it is very, very easy because two codons will encode them. Okay, after that, because it is actually present in the word factory. Okay, so F means phenylalanine, and C means cysteine, and Y means tyrosine. These three amino acids are encoded by only two codons. So you can easily memorize that if it is cysteine, then it should have two codons, and you know that UGA is a stop codon, so you will not fail to memorize that whether it is the cysteine or it is the cysteine or it is the cysteine. As it is the stop codon, you will not go for this, and as it has two codons which codes it, so encodes it, it will be UGU and UGC. And you know very well that argent trip, so argent means UG, and whenever there is UG and there is a trip, so tryptophan, and after those two ciphers, that means the upper two codons, or the pair of codons, will encode for cysteine. Now the room just below this room is CG. Okay, the second letter is the same, and UCAG is there. Okay, now CGU, CGC, what are they encoding? For this, just have a look at this, that the two letters of the codon are C and G. So how can you remember what amino acids they are encoding? They are encoding arginine, and it is R, capital R, in one letter abbreviation. So how can you remember this? Just remember a word, and that is cigar. Okay, so cigar is injurious to health and it is harmful also, but for educational purpose, we are just taking the name, and because it is helping us to remember the amino acids that are encoded by these codons. Okay, so cigar, whenever you have C and G, and it will be always R. R means arginine. Okay, after that, the room just below this room is of A, and the second letter is G as usual. Okay, so it is G, and then you have the U, C, A, G as usual. Now, what is the amino acid in this case? So what is the amino acid in this case? Let's see. To remember, we just have to remember two things. First of all, there is AG. Okay, so the first two letters of the triplet or the bases are A and G, and they encode for serine. Remember, we had serine in another room, but here I have mentioned earlier that Loris L is the leucine, and R is actually the arginine, and S is actually the serine, and they are encoded by 6 codons, and you will find them in 2 different rooms in the chart. Okay, and let's see how we can memorize it. So it is serine or S, and it is arginine, that is capital R. Okay, so how can we remember this? Just remember this word, that it's a pathetic word or a phrase actually, but we can use this, sorrow of aging. Okay, so that is a pathetic word, phrase. Now you see that this S is for this serine, and this R is for this arginine. So you can well understand which is first. Serine is the first one, and the second one is arginine. Okay, and then I have said that it is aging, sorrow of aging. So AG, whenever there is AG, the first 2 codons will encode serine as sorrow. In the word sorrow, you will find S first, so serine, and after that you will find the arginine, and it's very simple. So the last one is coming, and I'm very happy that we are pretty close, and I'm very happy that I have made it, and I have given you certain tricks which are helping you to memorize all the codons, and it's very interesting. I made this just today, and I think that after a long time I'm making videos, and because of the pandemic, and it was very hard for me to make videos because I was not getting the proper environment. And now it is time about 3 o'clock. Okay, so 3 a.m. and I'm still awake. Let's finish the video. Okay, so the last room of the genetic code chart will start with the letter G, and it is actually G. So GGU, again you have GG, again you have GG. So U, C, A and G, and they all code for glycine, and you don't have to memorize these by certain tricks. It is very simple. You have G, 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 G. Whenever there is GG as the first two letters of codon, then you will certainly write glycine.